Hello my friends! In today's video, we are going to talk about the turbulent life of Sinéad O'Connor, one of the most iconic voices from Ireland, known not only for her talent but also for her boldness. Sinéad's journey was filled with challenges. Even before achieving worldwide fame, her life was already marked by deep trauma. From a very young age, she faced the difficult separation of her parents, and at the hands of her own mother, experienced moments of physical and psychological pain. At 15, she was sent to one of the notorious Magdalene laundries, where she witnessed abuse and harsh punishments that scarred her for life. The pain of her childhood turned into protest, and her music became a powerful cry of resistance against injustice, especially toward the Roman Catholic Church. She always challenged the norms, whether through her songs or her controversial actions, like the famous incident when she tore up a photo of the Pope live on television.
Fight the real enemy!
Today, we'll explore the story of an artist who, despite her personal struggles, left behind an unforgettable music legacy. If you enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and share. Born in Dublin 1966, Sinéad was the third of 5 children. Her childhood, far from ordinary. At the age of 8, she witnessed her parents' marriage fall apart, and with it, her own sense of security. But what followed was even darker. Encouraged by her mother, a woman deeply affected by mental health issues and substance abuse, Sinéad began committing petty thefts. And so, at 15, she was sent to the infamous Magdalene laundries, institutions in Ireland known for their brutal treatment of troubled young women. Sinéad described the place as a prison where the girls cried every day. During the 18 months she spent there, she witnessed terrible abuse. In 2010, she wrote in the Washington Post recalling, "We worked in the basement, washing priests' clothes in sinks with cold water and bars of soap. We studied math and typing. We had limited contact with our families. We earned no wages. One of the nuns, at least, was kind to me and gave me my first guitar." Her time in one of the Magdalene laundries strengthened her resolve to speak out against the abuses within the Roman Catholic Church, a mission she continued throughout her career as an established artist. As she distanced herself from the church, she converted to Islam in 2018 and changed her name twice. However, her traumas didn't end in the laundries. Her relationship with her mother was even more painful. Marie, her mother, was like a tormentor inside their own home. The beatings were daily and cruel. At 8 years old, Sinéad was forced to live in a shed in the garden for months. In her own words, her mother ran the house like a torture chamber and seemed to take pleasure in causing others pain. Sinéad gave some powerful statements about this. "My earliest memory was her telling me I shouldn't be born. She didn't want me. She didn't want girls. She wanted me to be a boy. She treated me like a boy. She chopped my hair off. Whenever she beat me, which was daily, she made me take my clothes off and lie naked on the floor, my arms and legs open. She would attack my abdomen, wanting to burst my womb and destroy my reproductive system. She wanted to stop me from being female." Even after all this horror, Sinéad managed to find the power of forgiveness within herself. When her mother died in a car accident in 1986, she was just 19. Despite all the pain and suffering, she said something that makes us reflect on the transformative power of love. "I like to believe that me forgiving her and loving her has helped her in terms of her karma payback after death. She knows what she did, but it's okay because I forgive her." Sinéad O'Connor also faced challenges in her love life, especially after the release of her song Nothing Compares to You in 1990, which made her globally famous. She tied the knot 4 times, with one of her marriages lasting only 16 days. Her first marriage, to the music producer John Reynolds, ended in 1991. They met in 1987 and had a son named Jake. In 2001, she got engaged to the journalist Nick Summerland, but their marriage lasted only 3 years. She then married the musician Steve Cooney in 2010, but the union ended after a year due to professional commitments and life differences. In 2011, Sinéad married for the last time to the psychotherapist Barry Harridge in Las Vegas, but the marriage lasted a ridiculous mere 16 days. After the end of this last relationship, the Irish music legend confessed that she regretted getting married, admitting she was just trying to fit into society and wanted to feel normal. Of all her children, only one came from a marriage. In total, she was the mother of 4. In 1996, with the Irish journalist John Waters, she had a daughter named Roisin. After the couple's separation, a custody battle ensued, and Roisin went to live with her father. In 2004, from her relationship with the singer Donal Lunny, she had a son named Shane, and in 2006, she gave birth to Yeshua, her son with the businessman Frank Bonadio. While going through these relationships, Sinéad struggled for years with physical and mental health issues. After a pause in her musical career, she shared in a 2005 interview about her experience with fibromyalgia, describing it as a debilitating condition that painfully affects the muscles. Regarding her diagnosis of bipolar disorder, she told Oprah Winfrey in 2007 that she had been diagnosed around 2003 after a suicide attempt. However, later mental health evaluations suggested she might not actually be bipolar. Throughout her career, Sinéad faced countless battles, both in her personal life and professional path. But of all the struggles, the most painful and devastating was the loss of her son Shane. Sinéad O'Connor, at the age of 17, tragically took his own life after escaping from a psychiatric hospital where he was being held under observation. On Twitter, Sinéad expressed her deep sorrow, stating that her son Shane had decided to end his earthly struggle, and she pleaded with others not to follow his tragic example. The grief that consumed her was so deep that she cancelled all her performances for the rest of 2022. The loss of Shane seemed to have shattered Sinéad's already fragile soul, but the sadness did not come out of nowhere. In 2015, she had already publicly shared feelings of despair, exposing her internal struggles and troubling thoughts to the world. This did not go unnoticed by her fans, who became even more concerned when, in 2016, she disappeared during a bike ride in Chicago, only to be found hours later. In 2017, she posted a heartbreaking video on social media, revealing the isolation she felt since losing custody of Shane. "I'm all by myself. There's absolutely nobody in my life," she said. And so, the cycle of pain that marked Sinéad's life came to an end on July 26, 2023, when she was found lifeless in her apartment in South London. At 56 years old, she left this world, but the mystery surrounding her death remained for months. According to the New York Times, the cause of Sinéad's death was an exacerbation of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and bronchial asthma, combined with a mild lower respiratory tract infection. Just days before her death, Sinéad was still making plans for the future. In a video posted on Twitter on July 9th, she appeared in her newly rented apartment in London, full of plans to record new music. Sinéad's journey in music began early. She dropped out of school to sing and play guitar on the streets and in bars, eventually catching the attention of a small London record label called Ensign Records. She released her debut album, The Lion and the Cobra, in late 1987. Critics praised her powerful voice and the complexity of her songs, and the album sold over 500,000 copies, becoming certified platinum. With the release of her second album, I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, in 1990, she became an international star. Driven by the success of her hit Nothing Compares to You, the album topped the Billboard charts and earned Sinéad's 4 Grammy nominations. The video for Nothing Compares to You won MTV's Video of the Year award, and she was named Artist of the Year by Rolling Stone magazine in 1991. In total, Sinéad released 10 studio albums.
Shame, I feel no pain, I went to the doctor and guess what told me? Guess what? My soul, my blood and my bones I have. These are dangerous days. Say what if we could share an evening now and then.
Although her music crossed borders, Sinéad was also known for causing public controversies. She had feuds with other music idols such as Prince and Madonna. Regarding Prince, the author of her biggest hit, Sinéad made both accusations and praises. At times, she claimed they had physical altercations, while at other times, she said the story was exaggerated by the press and that he was a cool guy. In her 2021 memoir, she stated that Prince hit her with a hard object inside a pillowcase during a pillow fight at his mansion. After the Saturday Night Live episode where Sinéad tore up the photo of the Pope, Madonna mocked her by tearing up a photo of a criminal on another episode of the show. Prior to that, they had already exchanged public insults, with Sinéad claiming Madonna had treated her poorly by making jokes about her shaved head. Sinéad also criticized the pop diva for ridiculing another woman for not being seen as sexy. In 1991, Sinéad refused the Grammy Award for Best Alternative Album, claiming that her absence was a protest against the extreme commercialism of the Grammy Awards. In 1992, after singing an a cappella version of Bob Marley's song War on SNL, she tore up a photo of Pope John Paul II, saying, "Fight the real enemy." The aim was to call out the abuse of children within the Catholic Church. The act, however, resulted in negative repercussions for Sinéad's career. She was blacklisted from television appearances, booed during live shows, and in protest, her records were destroyed by a steamroller in Times Square, New York. For many years, she called for a full investigation into the extent of the church's role in covering up abuses by clergy members. In 2021, when asked about the incident by the New York Times, Sinéad said, "I'm not sorry I did it. It was brilliant." Despite being a controversial figure, there was always a tenderness in her actions. When she tore up a picture of the Pope on US television, she wasn't thinking about her image but about the victims of abuse. In fact, many of her songs were forms of protest. For instance, her 1990 song, Black Boys on Mopeds, addressed police brutality against black men. A few months before her death, she was honored with the inaugural Classic Irish Album Award, which she dedicated to the country's refugee community. At heart, she was a protest singer with a voice that demanded to be heard. That's how we should remember her. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and share this video. Come back and watch us again. You're always welcome. Thank you for sticking with me until the end, and I'll see you in the next video.